Hello everyone, welcome to UMD Media. UMD Media works on understanding, measuring, and doing, and it strives for evidence-based decision-making and discourse in the Horn, and specifically in Ethiopia. Today we'll be talking about Tigray war on Africa's response. For those who are following us on Facebook and YouTube, please share it, like, and subscribe if you haven't done that already. Okay, today I have the great pleasure to have Zitto Kabwe from Tanzania to talk about this topic on Tigray war on Africa's response. Zitto Kabwe is the leader of a leading opposition party in Tanzania. Welcome, Mr. Kabwe, to the UMD Media Show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak about this issue, which is at the center of my heart, a very, very sad situation. And I hope that we'll be able to discuss and see how the world can work together to have it resolved.
Thank you so much. As always, we do at the media, we try to give a background of whom we are speaking with. And this is Mr. Kabwe, Zitto Kabwe. He is a former MP and currently leader of a leading opposition party in Tanzania. He is by training an economist, a seasoned Tanzanian politician. Actually, on your LinkedIn page, we saw that you were active, or at least involved in politics in Tanzania since age 16. I would be happy to hear on that later on. So yeah. You have been the party leader for Alliance for Change and Transparency, Wazalendo. Wazalendo is maybe related to the name of the party.
Yes, Wazalendo is the Swahili word for patriotism.
Patriotism, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then
it's
until the
patriotism.
I see. And until the election last year, you were from Kigoma, a member of parliament.
Yes.
And you're very active, I must say, on social media. You are, I don't know, I mean, I'm not going to claim I know a lot of political parties in Africa or leaders, but you are very active on all platforms. So this is your Twitter account. For those who want to follow him, if you are not doing, I recommend that. So with over 1.2 million followers, that's a big number. This is your Facebook account, resources well to the people. This is what attracted my attention as well. Yeah. And this is on, you want to speak to that or?
No, it's fine.
Okay, yeah. And this is your yeah, this is your LinkedIn account as well, for those who are into LinkedIn and very active in in that professional network. This is Zitto Kabwe's account. Even Instagram, with a lot of followers, actually 1.7 million followers. And I can't help but point to the fact that what you have on your profile in the Tigray related petition, change origin, and so on. So, our audience, the people of Tigray, those who are not even allowed to, by the as we speak, to follow or to have access to internet, they will one day see this, that you were a very reliable voice for their voiceless life right now. And this you were even in Clubhouse, so I have to wait for you when you are talking about budget in Tanzania right now. But you use Clubhouse not only for Tanzanian issue, you discussed Tigray issue, Tigray genocide in 28th of February. So we will be talking about this and so on. So it's my, once again, great pleasure to have you on my show here, and we will explore, as we do, we'll try to understand. Understanding my guests always is a reflection of understanding the issues where they advocate, what they stand for, and so on. So first off, let's talk about a bit of Tanzania. And when we say leader of a leading opposition, this is from the documents and files I consulted. So can you tell us about your political involvement in Tanzania and who this party is, what this party is, and what it stands for?
Yes, thank you so much for the very good introduction. Sometimes I even forget the number of the social media platforms that I'm in, and you have really done your background check very well. And it is good. I'm impressed. Yes, as introduced, I'm Zitto Kabwe. I'm a politician in Tanzania. But also professionally, I'm an economist. I started in Tanzania and I started in Germany. And I have specialized on international investments, international taxation. But also I have worked for most of my time as a member of parliament on issues of poverty reduction and issues of the social security to the people. And these are the issues that close of my heart. But also I'm an internationalist. I've been involved in following up a number of international issues in Africa, in the East African region, in the Southern Africa region through SADC and everything. So it is through this international exposure that I was able to even know from day one what was happening in the Tigray region of Ethiopia, and I immediately joined all the people who were against the war, and later it turned out to be a genocide, and I continue, of course, on and off with the campaign to make sure that all the atrocities stop and culprits are taken accountable. I started politics at a very young age. I joined a movement for multi-party democracy in Tanzania when I was at the age of 16 in my home village of Kigoma that you see on the background. From Kigoma is a hometown. I don't want to be stones to be thrown to me. It's not a home village, it's a town. But my village is called Mondiga in Kigoma town. And I was involved in a party called the Party for Democracy and Progress. In Swahili, it's called, in its acronym, Chadema. And that's where I cut my teeth. I joined as a youth activist within the party, also in the civil society. And later, I became a leader of the party at the national level to the position of Deputy Secretary General of the party for the Tanzania mainland. And later there were some differences within the party, and I decided to form a new party. And the differences were mostly ideological, because I am left in political orientation, or these days we say that center-left, social democrats, but I am a leftist politician, believing in social security, believing in an inclusive economy, believing in justice, and also I'm a Pan-Africanist, believing in the integration of the African continent. And through this, I was able to meet a number of leading African leaders, including Meles, whom I met twice. In 2007 and 2008. And after that, actually, he made me follow Ethiopian politics deeply, because of the developmental model Ethiopia was taking. So yeah, in a brief, that is my political trajectory based on the local politics, and the party you asked is now a center party, because our party was merged with a group of other politicians and members from the other side of Tanzania, in the partner country called Zanzibar, that formed the United Republic of Tanzania. So our party is one of the two largest parties in Zanzibar, and we're in government in Zanzibar with the vice president and some ministers. And with that, then our ideological position of the party has to move to the center, because the politicians and the party that had joined us was a liberal, a center party. So some of our left-wing rhetorics had to be toned down to bring it to the center in order to accommodate all of us. Yeah, but I remain a leftist through and through. And following the merger, the party became the third largest party in Tanzania, after the ruling party, then the second largest party, which is the leading largest opposition party, and then us. So ACT is the third largest party in the United Republic of Tanzania, but one of the governing parties in Zanzibar. So in short, that's it. And our party has an African outlook. If you follow the party accounts, you'll see we have issued a number of statements regarding different issues, including the issues of Tigray as we speak. So when I speak, it's not just me speaking, it's also the party speaking, because we believe in justice, and we believe in Africa without bloodshed is what is going on there. Yeah, and just recently I was in Somaliland, if you followed, to observe an election observation there. And it is part of the orientation of ACT as an African oriented party, looking at global things and wanting justice to happen in the world. Yeah. So that's the introduction that I can give.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, what a profile. I mean, your personal political profile from the age of 16, and the Pan-African, and the African outlook. This is something that I would like personally at the media explore further in separate episode program, because this is what we need. There are local issues that are relevant we have to work on, but then at the same time, I always say people are united in suffering. They are united in the needs, the human needs, and the number of issues that we share together. So again, the idea of negotiating to come, the give and take, and you can't just stay in your corner, right? politics is about, change and so on. So that's very interesting. And coming back to Tigray as we speak, this today we are on the 220th day from November 4th. And you are familiar, with all these numbers, figures. It's sad. People are reduced to statistics, to numbers. But even one is too many in terms of the life, the suffering, and so on. But what we are seeing is not even a few. It's big numbers in terms of estimated killed, the number of people who need emergency food assistance, refugees in Sudan, children, separated, becoming orphans, and so on. And yesterday, there was this European Union and US transatlantic roundtable where they were clear about what's happening in Tigray, from mass starvation to weaponized rape and so on. Is gruesome. It's too much to handle. And one thing that comes to mind is, November 4th is when it started. Just within 4 days. This is, let me share it. Within 4 days, on November 8th, this is your post on Twitter. And you use the word genocide already within 4 days. And the world was hesitating, still in some parts of the world, hesitating to say that. So what did you know? We will explore your connections and the Meles, incident or an encounter and so on later. But this is, within 4 days, talking about this can surely lead to a genocide against Tigrayan people. So, Mr. Kabwe, can you walk us through what you were, looking at? What did you see at that time?
Yeah, as I said before, I was following Ethiopian politics for some time, and I am an admirer of Prime Minister Meles, and of course there are some issues that I did not agree with, some issues of the human rights, but all in all, I was in full support of Meles. I even wrote a very long Swahili article in 2012 after his death that I will grow to be Meles. A friend of mine is a journalist called Ezekiel Kamwaga. He's on Twitter as well. Had a baby, and I was given the honor to name the baby in 2012. I named his son Meles. So now he was born in 2012, and named him after Meles. So although there are some issues, and then in that article I said clearly that there are issues that I don't agree with Meles, but overall I fully support it. So I was following up. I followed up the changes that happened after his death with Hailemariam Dessalegn as the prime minister. And then I followed up things after the change from Hailemariam Dessalegn to Abiy Ahmed. And I have met Hailemariam Dessalegn twice in meetings with other African leaders. And he had already told me about the problems that are inside the Ethiopian People's Democratic Revolutionary Front, if I have mentioned it. EPRDF.
That's right. EPRDF,
yeah. And actually, he told me that the way Abiy is handling the integration of the party was not right, and it could lead to problems. And when problems happened, I called him. I phoned him. What's going on? And he couldn't tell me anything. He just said, pray for us, pray for us. I said, it's not about praying. It's about, you are a former prime minister. What is going on there? How can this happen? And he couldn't say anything. And then later I read an article about him supporting the operation in Tigray, and I was so brokenhearted. So in the morning of the 4th, actually, if you go to my
Zitto, sorry, so you called him after the start of the war, right?
Yes, I called him after the start of the war because I already had conversation with him about the tension. And he conversed with me, telling that the way Abiy Ahmed is handling the integration of the party was not proper because the process must be inclusive. And he explained to me how Meles prepared them to take over. And then the meeting they had, like a 1-month meeting about the changes. And then Abiy became the prime minister. So from my interpretation, he thought that Abiy was becoming dictatorial even within the party. So, and which could lead to danger. So immediately after the war erupted, he was the first person I called to ask what is going on and what can be done. And he was not able to tell me anything. He just said, pray for us. So, so there was nothing I could get. But later, I read an article from Foreign Policy, him supporting what they called the
law and order.
Yeah, law and order operation. And I was so disappointed with that. But I was saying, if you go even from 4th of November, the same day that the operation started, I spoke out about it. I tweeted that this is wrong. The first day, the office of the prime minister issued a statement saying that the law and order operation has started. I condemned it and said, no, this is not going well. And that's then on the 8th, the tweet that you have shown, and then several others. And you can imagine during that time, Tanzania had come out of a very bloody election, and still I felt really, really, really bad about what is going on in Tigray. And then the rest is history. From that operation today, more than 150,000 people are estimated killed. And, as you said before, we are turning people into statistics. These are not just statistics. These are the lives of the people. I had a tweet. Actually, I used the words of the former president of Tanzania, Julius Kambarage Nyerere. I compared the number of people who have died on the 200th day with like Dreamliner, Boeing Dreamliner with full capacity crashing. 3 Dreamliners crashing every day for 200 days.
Wow.
That's the impact of what is happening in Tigray and Tigray region. And very disappointed with the reaction that the African countries are taking. Myself, I've been involved in engaging a number of African leaders demanding the action to be taken on what is going on there, and I think we'll talk more about the African response on this. Yeah. So I was involved, one, because of the principle of our party on the African orientation, the Pan-Africanist approach, and secondly on my own interests about Ethiopia, and they've been following up the history of Ethiopia, my personal connection with Prime Minister Meles and his development model that I was following very, very closely. And I saw genocide in Rwanda in 1994 when I was very, very young. I received refugees in our home with my mother, refugees from Rwanda during genocide. And I can see it. And seeing that genocide is happening in after the genocide in Rwanda was really heartbreaking for me. And I really don't understand up to this moment why we are allowing the situation in Tigray to continue the way it is continuing now. It's really sad, very, very sad.
Yeah, indeed. And your comparison with the number of jumbo jets and per day and so on, that's very powerful, I must say. Because sometimes the measuring part of UMD media is actually on making numbers sometimes digestible, qualifying them, what that implies, and so on. So that's very powerful. And talking about connection to Ethiopia, and you are well versed, I must say, in terms of what was said before and how you connect that and so on. So this is from November 23rd, where you talk about what Abiy said about Tigray at the womb of Ethiopia, and you make this powerful reflection where 2 years later, the same man is cheering up the same womb of his own country. And he has been saying, Tigray is the engine of Ethiopia, Tigray is that, all that, and so on. One thing that people like me and many people, millions of people, are dumbfounded the fact that he says this and does something else. So in your connection with Mallas and Hailemariam and so on, so is there anywhere, given that your Pan-African or African view, maybe I'm not sure if I can qualify it as Pan-African, but your African outlook, I'm hoping gives you an idea into what happens elsewhere as well. You mentioned about Rwanda connection. Is there anywhere in Africa where this specifically, you also mentioned somewhere where how Abiy invited Isaias, to crush, to exterminate, his own people. So is there any precedents that we can learn from anywhere in Africa or elsewhere in your experience?
There is no precedent of what is happening in Ethiopia. And as you said, I quoted what he said, and he was tearing up the same womb, as I say, as I wrote there. And I said what you did not say. He is a Mengistu, because the same language Mengistu used, what we read from history, was the same language that the office of the Prime Minister of Ethiopia was talking about the Tigray and the law and order operation there. They are conducted the same. At the height of famine that was happening there, hunger that was happening, that led to the singing of those American artists, musicians about "We Are the World."
Yeah,
this was denying what is going on in Ethiopia, and he was like, "Yeah, take the water out of the pond, right? In order to let the fish die, just like that." And these are the languages that Abiy Ahmed had been using, and those are the things that made me so sick and felt so bad. And there is no precedent in Africa. Look, what is going on in Tigray region today can easily be compared to what happened in Rwanda in 1994. And in Rwanda, it was a genocide against the minority Tutsis. There was a civil war, and it was the war within. In Ethiopia, yes, there is ethnic profiling against the Tigray people, but we had a very unique situation whereby the head of a government of a country invited another country, the army from another country, to invade his own country, kill his people, rape women, and cause all the destroy of properties that has been. It has never happened. It has never happened. And I think what is going on in the head of this man, who is a Nobel Prize winner, inviting a foreign country to come and rape women of your country, to come and kill people. And the world is fine. The world is not quiet. Noises are very high. The court of public opinion is on the side of the Tigrayan people, but no action is being taken. All the time is like pleading to him. But at least we see it from the West. We see it from the UN, at least, not very satisfactorily, but at least. But you don't see that from Africa. You don't see that from African countries which are members of the African Organ on Security, African countries who are leaders in the African Union, and the African Union is seated in Addis Ababa, and we saw the efforts of the South African President Ramaphosa sending the envoys, highly respected people, and these people did not have a solution on Ethiopia. I understand that former President Obasanjo tried to move in and resolve this problem, and Abiy Ahmed did not want to see Obasanjo. How an African head of government say no to meet Olusegun Obasanjo? How? I was like, what is going on in the head of this man? And so
yeah, we will talk about the African response, because I was wondering, if you are the lonely voice, and so on. So we will talk about that. But for those who might, have the impression that you just started opposing what's happening in Tigray, or you just don't like Abiy for what he is, I don't want that impression to go out. So this is in February 2018, just a month before, maybe a couple of months before Abiy was elected, you expressed your worry for Ethiopia because of what was going on. Then March 28, you congratulated him actually for being the new prime minister. As a seasoned politician you are, you did what you should, right? Including, Paul Kagame. We need maybe to mention him, because actually I was, before I came to this show, I was checking on Twitter. The Abiy Ahmed used to follow at least 80 people, and he unfollowed everybody, and he's following zero. And today, and including, I think I was told he unfollowed Paul Kagame yesterday. So we will talk about that, monologue. I mean, that's what he's doing. He's just speaking to himself, and he's not willing to speak to anybody. But so with this background, your criticism is well-founded, grounded, and it's not about the person Abiy. You are just
I was very happy with the transition. I was very happy with the transition from after the death of Meles, from Meles to Hailemariam Dessalegn. I was very happy because I saw that people from other ethnic groups outside Meles's ethnic group were taking over. And all of us know the Hailemariam comes from a region which is not that powerful politically, but he got a chance. He grew from just a water engineer all the way to become the prime minister of Ethiopia. And before that, he was a deputy prime minister and the minister for foreign affairs. Like Meles was grooming him to take over. Yeah. And Abiy also was in the security forces, was in the government, and also did not come from the Tigray region. He came from what we read. He comes from the Oromia region. So I was very happy to see that the Ethiopian ruling coalition was able to pass the baton from one prime minister to the other out of the negotiations. So I supported him. I supported him on Nobel Prize. After he won the Nobel Prize, I cheered him up. And I started to oppose him immediately after he started to kill his own people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important to underline. And talking about Rwanda, you mentioned a couple of times, and in one of your tweets, you mentioned that, Abiy Ahmed did more than what Hailemariam did in Rwanda in 1990. So, because you are mentioning about how he allowed the army of Eritrea to kill, rape, and displace people, and this and the support, I don't know if you are following, but for people like me, what is unprecedented as well is the support from the elite. There is a significant, I must say, elite support for what Abiy is doing with not only Eritrea, as might have followed, mothers, parents in Somalia are asking, where are our kids? Because there were, Somalian people, youths that were sent to Eritrea, then joined, forced to join the war on Tigray. So what were you thinking in terms of this comparison between Abiy Ahmed and what was happening in Rwanda in the 90s?
Yeah, just for background, Hailemariam was the president of Rwanda who was killed in the evening that the genocide started. And Hailemariam and his ruling clique did not like the Tutsis, the ethnic group, but they were involved in negotiations for a peace deal, the Arusha Accord that was signed. And it was actually coming from a meeting to fast track the implementation of the Arusha Accord. And then he died. So Hailemariam is the symbol of the genocide in Rwanda. So as Abiy is now the symbol of the genocide in Tigray. However, Hailemariam did not invite a foreign country, a foreign army to invade Rwanda and fight his countrymen and women and kill his countrymen and women. But Abiy invited another country, invited Eritrea to invade this region, kill, rape, displace, and destroy properties. That's why I say that what Abiy has done is more than what Hailemariam has done. In our region, Hailemariam is the most hated person because of the killings of 800,000 Tutsis during Rwanda's genocide in 3 months in 1994. So that's what that was the comparison. But I know that the Somali, the current president of Somalia, of course, Afroeki from Eritrea, they are sending young people. They are taking young people and go and bring them to fight in Tigray. And I've been following up the issues of the mothers looking for their sons who have been taken away to go and fight. So you can see that. This thing, the tripartite alliance between Abiy, Formaggio, and Afroeki is destabilizing the whole Horn of Africa. And I don't see the bright future if the international community will continue to play the hide and seek that they are playing now. Yeah.
On your advocacy, was not limited to just tweeting and reflecting and so on. So, as I mentioned before, you even had discussions on United Against Tigray Genocide. So, I'm just wondering how has your connection to other people, to the Tigray community, or even within your party or elsewhere, in terms of connecting to others who are on the same boat of advocating against Tigray genocide?
Yes, I had to have the clubhouse discussion to bring the awareness, because a lot of people don't know what's going on. And there was a time in Tanzania people started to joke that I was an ambassador of Tigray. And even people were like, we have a lot of problems here at home. Why are you focusing on Tigray only? So I was getting those kind of criticisms and jokes. And I thought this is because of the lack of awareness of the situation there. So I went to open a room and have a discussion about it. And a lot of Tanzanians and other East African community member, the people from Kenya especially, started to understand after the discussion. And it is sad that people would not connect with the injustices happening beyond their borders. And all the time when people ask me why are you raising the voice in Tigray, what's going on there, and why all your interest there, and I always tell them, I quote Che Guevara. Che Guevara said about you are a comrade of mine if you tremble with injustice anywhere in the world. And this the clubhouse was part of bringing that awareness that yes, you might see yourself okay here, but if there is injustice in any other part of the world, that injustice should concern you as well. I've spoken about the Rohingyas, I've spoken about the Western Sahara, I've spoken about the Palestinian question, but the Tigray genocide is going on now. Now it is happening. It is not something like a theoretical explanation. It is practically happening, and with all kind of the ways that being used, where apart from the normal killings, but the hunger, the rape, everything is being weaponized in Tigray. And the good thing is, reports from various international organizations have shown the levels of atrocities, the massacre and everything. CNN had very good reports. Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, even the state-owned Human Rights Commission. Of course, their report, they try to put it more political, but they say that there are atrocities committed there. So the clubhouse room was an effort to bring the awareness. And yes, you asked about the impact. I got good connection. I got connection with the Tigrayan community abroad, so I can be able to have information on real time, which is very important for any person campaigning on something, because if you do not have information, you end up campaigning on things of the past. So I'm in touch with campaigners. I'm in touch with people like you because of that. I'm in touch with some very prominent individuals in the Tigray community, in the leadership, the professionals. There are work that we're doing together involving getting to see different African leaders. I've visited a number of African presidents to bring the case of Tigray in order for them to understand and bring it at the African Union meetings. So through this, I've been able to get connected with the community, which is really, really good. So it's not just I'm just an activist knowing nothing what's going on. No, I'm an activist connected with people who have lost their loved ones, people who have their parents and relatives and nowhere to be seen there, or they don't know what's going on. They are worried about their situation. So all this has really helped me in making sure that I continue with the cause to the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's so great, for those who have been following you for the last 7 months. You are very active in the local Tanzanian, domestic politics. It's still a live, real-time involvement. There are a lot of things to do and so on. And at the same time, you are advocating for or against the Tigray genocide and so on. So again, you're for our viewers, it is worth mentioning that your advocacy and so on is not just saying it and feeling happy and satisfied about it. You have been doing more than that. So this is from November 6th, where you shared Debretzion's the letter. That's the president of the Tigray regional state at that time, who sent this letter to Ramaphosa. You also had a number of things going on. You even wrote this letter as well as a press release in the name of the party, that you again to the UN, to the AU. I will ask you about any responses and why things are not going in terms of this actually was interesting, because this was about the 70 hours ultimatum, where he was saying they would otherwise Mekelle would be a target and so on. So that was crucial, and I'm sure it helped. And this is from where you in the Citizen in Tanzania. It's captured what you are calling for in terms of the AU and the UN. And then I was mentioning about this, I get on the petition. So you are saying we petition the African Union to call a summit and resolve to intervene in order to protect the people from war crimes and genocide. So this is in November, end of November. So again, about Paul Kagame. So my question to you is, where you say here, I'm sure you are informed that Meles Zenawi's daughter was arrested, her crime being a Tagar or ethnic Tigray and so on. So it can't get clearer than this. It can't get, your advocacy, your standing with the people can't be stronger than this, in my view. So, Mr. Kabwe, what is your assessment with all what you have been doing, what you continue to do? Where do you see the reaction or inaction of Africans in general or neighboring politicians, like from Kenya to Rwanda to Uganda, elsewhere in Tanzania, outside your party and yourself. How do you assess? Where do we see this kind of advocacy, or at least a semblance of that?
Disheartening, very sad that the African leaders are not taking decisive actions on what's going on in Tigray. I am satisfied, at least, that I see the governments of many of the European Union member countries, with the exception of Italy, the US new administration, I'm a bit disappointed with the Canadian Prime Minister. He should have been stronger on even in words, but he is trying to play it safe, the same as the African leaders are. I have seen only one reaction from President Kagame regarding genocide without saying it, but I understood what he meant. He had a tweet about African leaders to be careful. Their duty was to protect their people and not to let their people be massacred, following the report that came out from the CNN on the massacre in various parts of the Western Tigray area. And what I can say is that it is very sad that even within the region, Kenya, Uganda, here in Tanzania, very few people have taken up the matter and raised their voice. And it's sad because solidarity is key in these kind of issues. Today it is happening to the Tigrayan people. Tomorrow it will happen to another ethnic group in an African country, and who will speak for them? Why are we not able to reach out and defend human rights beyond our borders? Why are we so parochial and focusing our activism within our borders? But I understand as well that people don't want to take public stance, because a number of people that I talk to privately, I'm very, very angry with what is going on in Tigray region, what's going on in Ethiopia. But they cannot be able to speak out. I was organizing a joint statement with a number of the political leaders especially in SADC region, in Eastern Africa and SADC region, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Malawi, South Africa, Seychelles, Lesotho, Swaziland, Botswana, Namibia. So we prepared a draft statement for it to be issued by 18 major political parties from 18 African countries in East Africa and Southern Africa. And we had big trouble. People saying, yes, what's going on is horrible, but they're not able to put up their signature. Only Zimbabwe, largest opposition party, MDC Alliance, and a Kenyan Ukweli party were ready to put up their signatures. And it was really sad. And we ended up asking each party to issue separate statements, because what we wanted was an impact. We wanted to force the African Union to sit down and deliberate and protect the people of Tigray. And responsibility to protect is a principle in the UN. It is not something new. It is not something that we are inventing. It is something within the UN system. And African Union itself, in its constitutive act, went away with these things of internal affairs, and it defined what issues cannot be internal affairs of a country. Genocide is not a matter of internal affairs of the country. Genocide is a crime against humanity, and countries can intervene to protect the people. And yes, my colleagues were not ready because they did not want to cross this Ethiopian government. They did not want to cross Abiy. They wanted to stay in a good rapport with him, and that's what I'm seeing. The same thing that I saw within the opposition in Africa is the same thing that I see with our African leaders. Because I've said, I've met a number of African presidents, 4 or 5, about the issue of Tigray. Just for the sensitivity of the matter, I'll not mention them, I'll not mention the countries, but I've met 5 African presidents. And indoors, they really understand the issue. They're really sad, and they condemn Abiy, but they're not able to say outside. It's sad. It's sad because their silence means more and more people dying every day. Every day, as we are speaking here, since we started to speak 56 minutes ago, people are dying, whether by bullets or by hunger. People are dying. You know, why? Why are we allowing this?
Yeah,
it's so sad.
Yeah, it is. It is indeed sad. And I mean, I think if for the African Union, if the African Union were to do its duty, and if it was to, voice what the way it should, I think the individual African countries would have it easy to follow suit, right? You mentioned about the African Union's inaction already again in November. I mean, I should emphasize to our viewers that already early on you were clear about what was unfolding, what unfolded at that time. So as an African, I'm ashamed that the African Union has allowed these war crimes to be committed by the Ethiopian federal government. So one thing that I read in Alex Doyle's article, I think from 2-3 years ago, which I didn't know, was Abiy was actually the first Ethiopian leader to just ignore and miss an African Union summit for the first time ever. And to go with Afwerki to United Arab Emirates, to meet the leaders there and so on the same day of an African Union summit. So he showed that the very, time he came to power, his disregard to the African cause and, the biggest institution and a very important institution for that matter. So you are mentioning here this, you are referring to a communique from the Office of the Prime Minister, where you mention Chisano and a couple of others and so on. So the African Union actually, you didn't kept quiet about that. You compare, I mean, if you look at here, it's so sad that the chair of the African Union Commission was rightly, I mean, condemning the bombardments of people in Gaza.
Yeah.
While it just, ignores, even says that Ethiopia, I mean, they are with the federal government on the same, unity, stability, respect, constitutional order, and so on.
Yeah.
It's so sad, and it was not in the agenda of this summit in February, and so on. So, and back in March and February 27th, you were looking at again Rwanda genocide and the UN Security Council, and taking Abiy to ICC, so on. So, given what we know right now, 220 days after the start of the war on November 4th. You mentioned the positive development in the EU, in the US, and as we speak today, the G7 is just started their meeting today, and they will issue a statement tomorrow. So, what is your expectation? I mean, I think the African Union and the African response, I don't see that coming. But do we see, or do you see, the seasoned politician you are, and as a man who have seen it all and knows what he's doing, he's talking about, what should we expect in the coming days and weeks?
I think there is only one language that Abiy will understand, and that language is economic sanctions. Already, Ethiopian economy is not in good shape, and if the Western countries decide to put economic sanctions on Ethiopia, Abiy will sit down on the table and discuss and dialogue with the people of Tigray through their elected leaders and resolve this matter. This matter just requires people to sit down and dialogue. And then, as I've been saying before, we need an independent UN-supported investigation on the question of Tigray, so that the truth is told and all the culprits are taken to task. So there is no other language, as I see, and further stronger actions must be taken. I'm following up the work that the Special Envoy on Horn Africa is doing. He has traveled to a number of the countries that were working with Abiy, including the United Arab Emirates. I hope the United Arab Emirates will understand and toe the line from the US, and I think they will. And also, I signed like 2 or 3 weeks ago a petition by Ethiopians, by Tigrayans, against the CDC to support the purchase, the investment in Ethiopian telecom. All these things, if the spanners are put and the sanctions take place, I am sure that Abiy will not agree to see the economy collapsing on his hand, and he will come. He will not afford to be Afroeki. He will not. Afroeki has managed to be sidelined for years, and he has survived with the suffering of the Eritrean people, young people going to the national service, and as you can see, a lot of Eritreans are the ones who are trying to cross Mediterranean to Europe. Abiy will not afford that. Ethiopia is not Eritrea. So the moment people see the suffering, the moment the elites lack the amenities that they are enjoying, because once the sanctions hit, they will force him out, and Ethiopia will go back to negotiation table. Ethiopians will sit down and agree on the best way going forward. I believe that Tigrayans are, and from my discussion with them, the number one priority for them is being in Ethiopia. But with what has been going on now, you see a number of young people asking the question, why? Why should we be? If these people don't like us, if these people kill us, rape women, destroy properties, it means they just hate the Tigray people. And this is a really, really bad situation, and the reconciliation must be done. So I haven't lost hope. I haven't lost hope. The Ethiopian economy depends a lot on the global economy. If the world decides not sending the army into the Tigray region. It doesn't need that. If the world decide to put economic sanctions on Abiy will collapse, and Ethiopia will go back to negotiation, and the relationship be rebuilt, and the peace and human rights being observed in your country.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Kabwe. But I want to end it with this. Okay. Okay, you have been following my conversation with Zitto Kabwe, who is the a leader of a leading opposition party in Tanzania. We are over the hour. We'll be finishing now. It's getting late at your place, but I just can't help but finish it with a soft question, a couple of soft questions actually. If there is something left, you can also add into that. So my soft question is, you mentioned about your encounter. You met Meles a couple of times, and yes, I agree with the issue of humanitarian, human rights, all that, and so on. So, and you also pointed the connection in terms of his developmental state policies and so on. Was there anything that you can share with our viewers in your meeting, if it was kind of soft social, personal level that you would like to share, if any?
Meles was, I can say, the smartest African leader I have ever met. And we're in a meeting in Abuja with the late president of Nigeria, Omar Yar'Adua, and President Kufuor, and the president of Germany, Horst Kohler. And there was a question about what Africa is doing for itself regarding development, because we were discussing about the relationship between Africa and Europe. And the way Meles responded I was like, how Africa can produce such a bright, smart person? So I wrote a note after that. I wrote a note to him to congratulate on the response. And he wrote back to me. And he said, I wish you young Africans will be able to take up from us. And I have it somewhere, the note, in his own handwriting, to take up from us and make sure that Africa is respected and Africa is not a punching bag. And these are the words I remember all the time, because you can see when he was attending the G7 meetings, like the G7 that's going to happen now, and the way he was putting the cause for Africa, so brilliant, So that's what I can share, and I'm happy that I was able to attend his funerals in Addis Ababa in 2012. The president of Tanzania then, Jakaya Kikwete, knew that actually the article that you have posted there, it was widely read in the country. And when the death happened and the president was to come to go to Addis Ababa, he telephoned me and say, I know Meles is your friend. I know you liked him. So you will be part of the presidential delegation to go to the funerals. So I came. I saw the widow, and I saw the kids as well. And I attended the funeral, the national funeral that took place at the stadium. It was a stadium, right? Or it was a big open space there.
Yeah, Mescal Square, in the square.
Yeah.
In fact, isn't it, now talking about Tigray and talking about the funeral, I saw that Feltman, the special envoy of the US, was also attending that funeral. Actually, he made a speech there.
Yes.
Are the UN official at that time?
Yes, and the Samantha was not there, but
Susan Rice,
Susan Rice, yes.
Susan.
Susan Rice was there, and also he made a speech. And President Kagame's speech was really, really good as well.
Exactly.
Because of the comradeship that
we remember very well. The last soft question is just out of curiosity, and I'm looking for some surprises there. What does Zitto Kabwe mean if it's in the local language?
It means nothing, actually.
So no surprise there.
My father had a friend who was a footballer, and his name was Zitto.
Tanzanian.
So they gave me the name. Kabwe is an African name meaning a small stone.
I see.
Yeah. You find this in Tanzania and Zambia mostly, and Malawi and Congo. A small stone is called Kabwe. There is a town in Zambia called Kabwe, you know.
Great. What a great man you are. I mean, the principle, the commitment, and I think this is something that I will cherish in terms of. I'm so grateful we could converse this way and this time. But like I said, there are a lot of things to explore. An African issue, Tanzanian issue. And I'm just really hoping that this will not be the last conversation we'll have with you.
It will not be the last conversation. I would really like to be more engaged in this cause because it's a just cause and I really feel into it. So anything that I should do, anything that I can add value in ending the atrocities going on in Tigray region of Ethiopia, I will be there. I'll be there to support. So anytime, don't hesitate, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kabwe, who is the leader of a leading opposition party in Tanzania. It was a pleasure to talk to you today. Thank you for your time. Have a good night.
Thank you so much, Asefa. All the best.
Thanks. Dear viewers, you have been following my conversation with Mr. Zitto Kabwe from Tanzania, who is the leader of a leading opposition party there. And our topic was Tigray war and the African response. Thank you for watching. Please share, like our video and our media, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your host was Getachew Asafa. Have a good time.